Hello, PHOTOnews friends. I've got some very sad news. This is not your usual video from us. Um, we wanted to let all of you know that our dear friend Crombie McNeill passed away recently. As far as we know, he passed peacefully in his sleep, which we can all only hope for. But unfortunately, yeah, Crombie's gone. And that's pretty sad news to all of us here at the PHOTOnews team, but our hearts really go out to his dear wife Sue and their daughter Tanya. Um, yeah, I can't imagine what they're going through. We've communicated a fair bit this week, but yeah, my heart goes out to her. Um, as you know, Crombie was a master of black and white film. He loved black and white film. He also loved Nikon film cameras. Yeah, we've lost a real national treasure. Crombie was published in countless magazines, including the big ones like National Geographic and Elle. He was also very fond of telling stories about being published in Playboy, not as a centerfold photographer, but as an editorial photographer. But hey, he was in Playboy, so he was quite happy about that. It definitely made for a great story, and that's probably the biggest thing that I will miss myself, and I know others who got to meet Crombie, that's what we'll all miss, is his stories. He had a 60-year career as a photographer, covering the Vietnam War and Olympics and almost everything under the sun. Now, one thing that he always came back to was photographing the less advantaged and the homeless. Especially in his home area of Ottawa at the Ottawa Mission. So he was originally sent there by his editor at an Ottawa newspaper to go photograph the patrons, which he kind of, he wasn't very thrilled by it when he first went. And he had a lot of fears, and the same prejudices that exist today existed 60 years ago when Crombie started. But when he went there, he found out that these people were actually just humans like the rest of us, and they had dreams and hopes and stories themselves. And Crombie really connected with those people, and he returned regularly to photograph these less advantaged, and not to exploit them. The thing with Crombie is he was there to capture their images, to tell their story. They were all engaged. And the one thing about Crombie that I've always admired, and we're kindred spirits there, is when he took photos of somebody, it wasn't an environmental portrait and telling this grand story about what their condition is. It was a close-up, intimate portrait of them, showing their face and their eyes, and letting that image tell their story. And they're almost always smiling, because Crombie had this gift of connection. He was able to connect with everybody who got in front of his camera, everybody that he met. He was just such a kind, genuine, and modest person. And as I like to call him, he was a gentleman. He was definitely one of the last true gentlemen. In every aspect. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to miss him. I know that his family is definitely having a hard time. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. We send them all our love. I can't imagine what they're going through, especially something all of a sudden and unexplained. But yeah, it's a sad time for all of us. So Sue and Tanya, yeah, we're sorry that you have to go through this. We're sorry that Crombie's gone. We're definitely going to miss him. Yeah, we had a lot of plans for this year, so it's unfortunate that those won't come to fruition. Crombie takes with him, like I said, 60 years of knowledge. And the one thing I also admired about Crombie was his willingness to share. If you asked him how he took an image, he wouldn't shy away from telling you what equipment he used. But the equipment really didn't matter to Crombie. What was important to him was the person in front of his camera. Everyone has a story, and he was always there to get their story, to learn, and then share their story. That was key with Crombie. So I certainly admire that. I know many of you that have been following him admire that. His Coffee with Crombie series here on PHOTOnews TV was extremely popular, and we all know why. It was all about Crombie. He was just very entertaining and knew his stuff. So yeah, it's sometimes hard to find the words, but yeah, Crombie will definitely be missed, and we wanted to share this with all of you. Now, some other notes. There, at Crombie's request, there will not be a service, and at his dear wife Sue's request, though, the next time you pour yourself a beverage, raise a glass to Crombie. Think of him fondly, and raise a glass of whatever you happen to feel like. It doesn't really matter. Just think of Crombie, think of him fondly, which I think we all do, and yeah, that's how we'll remember him. The other way that I'll remember him is every time I grab one of my Nikon film cameras and my Ilford black and white film, I will definitely think of Crombie, because that's one of the things that we always talked about, was his love of black and white film. He loved that immensely. He loved his street people, but most of all, he loved his dear wife, Sue. And I can see why. They were like teenagers when I saw them together. They were just so adorable. Yeah, it was really cute to see. So next time you shoot some film, think of Crombie. And if you need help on developing it, come back to the videos on the channel and go through Crombie's steps on how he developed his black and white film. For the next month, Amplus Photo, PHOTOnews, and Ilford will be donating a portion of their proceeds to the Ottawa Mission. So if you feel so inclined to make a donation in Crombie's name, the Ottawa Mission will graciously accept it. This is by no means necessary. We'd rather follow the family's wishes and just raise a glass and think of him fondly. So rest in peace, my friend. If you've got any memories, I know that Sue will be following along. And leave any comments and memories down below, and we'll make sure that Sue gets them. It's important for her, especially right now, to read all these good things. I know we've talked quite a bit this past week about our good memories of Crombie, and I mean, that's all you could have of him. But yeah, if you have any stories or comments, please leave them down below, and we'll make sure that Sue gets them. And yeah, raise a glass, grab some black and white film, and think of Crombie often. We'll think of you, buddy.